Mara stared at the ceiling again, eyes tracing the faint crack that stretched from the overhead light fixture toward the far corner of the room. It was 3:17 a.m., and tomorrow she would lie bleary-eyed at her desk, her mind fogged and her body heavy from another night spent wrestling with exhaustion. She had tried everything: lavender sprays, warmed milk, guided meditations, but nothing stuck. Each morning brought aching disappointment, each night a fresh dose of frustration. 2 nights ago, her friend Jai offered a different prescription. "You're stressed," he said gently over coffee. "Maybe you need release." He hadn't spelled it out, but Mara understood. It was sex. She dismissed the idea at first, thinking, as if rolling around in more late-night hustle would help. But Jai spoke of science, studies showing that sexual activity, whether solo or shared, boosts levels of oxytocin and prolactin, quiets the stress hormone cortisol, and lulls the body into deeper, more restorative sleep. Mara was skeptical, but the next night, desperate enough to try anything, she let herself believe. That evening, she lit 2 candles in her apartment. Their soft glow danced across the empty bed in her small bedroom. She traced nimble fingers along the edge of her crisp sheets, inhaled the faint scent of sandalwood, and closed her eyes. She was alone, but that night she made space for her own body to be both giver and receiver of comfort. She moved slowly, exploring familiar territory with new intention. Each sigh was a release of stress, of tight muscles, of pent-up worry. She thought of the studies she'd read, that sexual arousal floods your brain with endorphins, relaxing your nervous system. She let her mind sink deeper into her body, into the warmth and swell of sensation, until she reached a crescendo that was both gentle and powerful. Then, as promised, came the flood of hormones, prolactin, oxytocin, that washed through her veins like balm. Mara didn't look at the clock. She lay down, arms spread wide, letting her heartbeat slow. Her breathing evened out. Within minutes, she drifted into that rare, delicious threshold between being awake and asleep, and then, finally, into real sleep. The next morning, Mara awoke at 7:15 a.m. on her own, the sun's rays painting golden stripes across her duvet. She blinked at the ceiling, felt muscles that were supple instead of stiff, and realized she had slept unbroken for nearly 8 hours. The memory of her usual 3 a.m. slump was a distant dream. At work, she sipped tea and marveled at the efficiency of her own mind. Emails that would have taken her half an hour were dispatched in 10 minutes. Her shoulders felt light, her posture straightened. Even when a client rang with a last-minute request, she handled it with calm authority instead of flustered panic. Over the next week, Mara repeated the ritual. Some nights, she welcomed a partner, her new boyfriend, Daniel, into the experience. The physical intimacy they shared deepened their emotional bond, and afterward they would lie side by side, arms tangled, whispering until both drifted away. Other nights, she practiced self-care alone, exploring the same pleasures with kind focus, honoring her own body's needs. She began tracking her sleep with an app and saw the changes in black and white. REM cycles lengthened, deep sleep phases expanded, and her overall sleep score climbed from the low 50s into the 80s. Mornings became gifts instead of punishments. One evening, as Mara prepared for bed, she caught her reflection in the bathroom mirror. In her eyes glinted something new, confidence. She admired the way her collarbones sat high, the gentle curve of her jaw. Inside, she felt more grounded, more present, qualities that had eluded her since college, when she'd first discovered the crushing weight of insomnia. She remembered the nights spent pacing, stomach clenched, mind racing. She thought of the journals she'd filled with anxious scribbles, lists of worries, to-do items, plagues of what-ifs? And she realized that in those earlier years, stress had felt like a runaway train, unstoppable, unmanageable. But now, she possessed a simple tool, an act of pleasure and release, that could derail that train, stop it in its tracks. On a crisp Saturday morning, Daniel and Mara sat on a bench overlooking the harbor. The water was calm, a mirror to the pastel sky. Daniel turned to her, his expression open and tender. "You've changed," he said. "In the best way. You're lighter, happier." Mara smiled, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear. "I slept," she whispered. "Really slept." He took her hand. "I want to help you keep that. If you ever want to explore more, research back things, let me know." She chuckled. "I think sex is enough research for me." They leaned into each other, sharing a gentle kiss. Behind them, waves lapped softly against the dock, a lullaby for their entwined souls. Back home that night, Mara reflected on her journey. Sleep, she now understood, was both science and art, a delicate alchemy of biology and emotion. Pleasure unlocked something profound, a biological signal that it was safe to let go, to trust the body's rhythms, to surrender to the gentle pull of the night. She thought of her candlelit bedroom, the ritual she'd crafted to honor her needs. She thought of Daniel's warm embrace, the silences they shared as they drifted to sleep side by side. She thought of the small, momentous change that had shifted the entire trajectory of her days. Mara closed her eyes, inhaled the familiar scent of sandalwood and clean linen, and let herself drift into darkness, not of fear or frustration, but of comfort and trust. Outside, the world paused for a breath. Inside, she found the rest she had chased for so long. And in that stillness, Mara knew she had discovered not just better sleep, but a deeper sense of self-care and connection, a lesson to carry forward, night after night, in the gentle embrace of pleasure's power to heal. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Don't Give Up. Let's continue exploring life's challenges and insights together.